Hello traders, this is a look at our market leading stocks for the coming session. This is for expiration Friday, August 15th, 2014. Got a bit of an update going today. We're up about 5 handles on the ES side and about 17 on the NASDAQ side. So mostly seeing positive action in the NASDAQ, but not a lot of signals to show for it. One to watch for tomorrow and into next week is going to be Amgen. We're posting an RPS after a 5% move above the day's open on good volume. So that could be nearing the end of this little run. Amazon right now is flirting with an upside signal. Let's keep an eye on that one. Moving on to the financials, note that we're very light in volume here, so we've got a couple of signals on both sides. This probably gets a little bit of a nod to the upside because of the upside CPS, but again, it's just on very, very light volume, and there's no other meaningful deviations to speak of here. Moving on to the energy names. Energy names might be a little bit better to buy, but again, very light volume. Seeing some pretty good weakness in Schlumberger. That's about 2% below the day's open with the downside CPS. Valero's the other side of the tape. That one's got an upside CPS on okay volume. That one's about 2.5% above the day's open. Moving on to the market generals. This is where we're seeing a little bit of a more definitive lineup. We're definitely lined up here to the buy side, although it's mostly on light volume. So usually you don't get a whole lot of movement into options, but if we do get a move, this is implying that the direction or the bias is going to be to the upside. Moving on to the housing names, very, very strong here as far as the signals go. Pretty positive price action across the board here. So keep an eye on these on the long side for the remainder of this week, perhaps the beginning of next. Transportation is also, for the most part, seeing better upside interest here. American Airline is very, very strong, 2.2% above the day's open on some decent volume. And onto the commodities. Silver Wheaton's got a volume bump. That one's real weak. That one's almost 5% below the day's open and 2% below the day's VWAP. So a lot of weakness there. You can see the volume associated with that. Double G is also fairly weak. That one's on decent volume. That one, unfortunately, doesn't have a signal. An upside signal in ADX and also an upside CPS here in US Steel Letter X. All right, folks, just keep in mind that tomorrow is option expiration, so trade accordingly. As always, thanks for listening. This has been Rich for tradesight.